Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And this video is going to be an interesting one. It is going to be our NFC East division. This is always a very hard division to predict, and it's especially going to be hard this year because there's just so much uncertainty in the football world and really just the world in general. And there's a lot of rivalries in this division, so there's going to be some good matchups this year. So we're going to start with some open conversation about this division, and then we'll make our picks 4, 3, 2, 1 in that order.
Yeah, you're definitely right, Ryan. There are a lot of rivalries in this division. One that we see a lot is the Cowboys and the Giants. You almost see it every year on Saturday Night Football. And it's also a great game between the Eagles and the Cowboys as well. I mean, all these teams, they've been around for a decent amount of time.
The poor football team just doesn't have any rivalries.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I was by football team, I mean Washington football team.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's just have an open discussion. Are we just going to talk about each team a bit for an open
Really,
discussion?
anyone could kind of.
Let's just talk about I like the direction you're going with the division rivalries.
Yeah.
I would like to start off by saying we've made a comparison to the two quarterbacks in this division, Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. So if you want to see that after this video, go check it out. We talk all about that, so we won't really hit on that as much, but we will just a little bit. So let's start with that and kind of just paraphrase what you said, so you guys can start with it.
Well, I guess I'll just start talking about one of those teams. I'm going to start talking about the Cowboys. And, of course, that would mean I'd have to talk about Dak Prescott since Carson Wentz is not on the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott is. First of all, new news. I don't think we knew it for sure earlier, but Dak Prescott is going to play under his franchise tag, which still gives him a heck of a lot of money. More than he really deserves, in my opinion. Although I do like Dak Prescott, but still more than he really deserves. So that's just new news there. But I do like Dak Prescott. I think he's a good quarterback. One of my friends is a Cowboys fan. He's a little upset with Dak Prescott for demanding as much money as he is, as I'm sure many Cowboys fans are. So that's just my feelings on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and we'll keep it at that for Dak Prescott because we got a lot of teams to talk about.
Yeah.
But with Carson Wentz, we've had the debate about that. We'll just go through all the quarterbacks really in this division. Young quarterbacks, a lot. And basically all of them are pretty young quarterbacks, I would say. Carson Wentz being there with the Eagles. He has had injury history, but he's also shown flashes of greatness. You can go to Daniel Jones on the Giants.
Yeah.
It was really good in his rookie year at the first couple of games, and it kind of declined. And then Dwayne Haskins, to me, is kind of a wild card. I don't know what to think. I don't like how he played last year, but then I look at it and I go, well, the Washington football team, I'm just going to call it now, they weren't that at the time, but they didn't have a good roster around Dwayne Haskins, so I don't know if I could fairly evaluate him yet.
That's a great point. I want to talk about the bottom two teams from last year. You know, everyone talks about the Cowboys and the Eagles because they were battling it out to the end of that division. But you look at those other two teams, you know, the Giants, they are kind of heading in a new era, you know, year 2 with Daniel Jones, year 1 with Joe Judge. And I think Daniel Jones did do some nice things last year, but people are going as far to say, oh, the Giants made the right choice at 6 overall with him. And I think that's just crazy to say. Like, he's shown flashes of potential, but I mean, you know, come on.
What choice do you think that they should have made? And that is Dwayne Haskins, and then look what Dwayne Haskins
No, I'm not
done.
talking even about, like, people are saying, like, they got it right. There were better defensive players on the board. Like, you look at the season Josh Allen had in Jacksonville. I mean, I know there's a lot of hype around this player. You know, I think that when it's all said and done, Drew Lock will be a lot better than Daniel Jones. Then I know, like...
To be fair, we don't know if the Washington football team almost slipped up there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough. But
one of us is going to do it.
Yeah. Who knows if they made the right choice picking Dwayne Haskins 15 overall. And I know that's later on the draft, but Drew Lock was picked after that, and they could have waited until this year to get a quarterback. Like, I mean, Tua and Herbert probably would have been gone by then anyways. But, I mean, that depends on the quarterback play. So... Although the football team did pick 2nd overall, so they could have got Tua or Herbert their choice. And, I mean, we just don't know until we see these next years of quarterbacks.
Yeah, you know, and back to the Giants, I think, I'm not trying to say Daniel Jones is going to be a bust, but I think when people are going as far to, like, apologizing for saying they made the wrong pick back in April of 19, I think that we still got to pump the brakes a little bit. Like, okay, like...
I do have a question, though. Who has been apologizing? Because I haven't heard
I've seen some analysts. I don't remember names, but I've seen analysts saying, like, wow, I was wrong, or, like, people saying, like...
About Daniel Jones you're talking about?
Yeah, and about him.
I know Chris Simmons is one of the people that has done that.
Yeah, I mean, like...
I'm a big fan of Chris
Yeah.
Simmons, so...
But his receiver rankings are a little...
weird. Oh, yeah.
But that's okay, that's a different video. So Daniel Jones, not quite a bust, but not quite to the point where I could say you did the right thing, New York. But let's talk about the football team because
Let's
team.
talk about Daniel Jones for a
you wanna
second.
talk about
I
Dan-
just pulled up his stats. I just wanted to read them off because I do like to read off people's stats.
Yeah.
So
Really
last
found his
year
stats,
Even though he doesn't have any.
he played 13 games. He started 12 games. He got 24 touchdowns, which is actually really good, and 3,027 yards.
Yeah, how many fumbles?
And then where's the fumbles?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, interceptions. This is a big one too. 12 interceptions. He started 12 games, played 13. So that's an average of basically one per game.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. That's still not what you want.
Yeah,
out of
not
starting
horrible.
quarterback.
But yeah, like that's what the thing
But
is.
once
with Daniel
again,
Jones.
you can look at a quarterback interceptions to touchdown ratios, and some quarterbacks, like why we saw Jameis Winston's interceptions up, is not because he's that bad of a quarterback, but because the offense he's in is willing to take risks and all that. So that could be similar to what's going on with Daniel Jones.
There were many throws last year where Jameis Winston just missed or he read it wrong. It's not completely on the offense. Don't blame that on Bruce Arians in the offense for what Jameis
I'm not
did.
completely putting it on him. I'm saying it's mainly because of that.
I don't think you can't even say mainly, in my opinion. I'm trying to find fumbles. I can't really find it now.
I think
we know it's a
around,
lot.
It's around 12.
I think
it might be around 10 or 12. It's right around the interceptions, I think. So.
I think he has potential, but I think when you're going as far to say the Giants made the right choice when he won like 2 games or 3 maybe, I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit, but we do have to keep an eye on him because, the Giants, like the football team, they didn't have a whole lot of weapons. Saquon Barkley battled some injuries, especially, kind of towards that middle to end point of the year. So, definitely with both Haskins on the football team, and then
what is it?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
I think this was not recovered by the other team, but he had 18 fumbles that were on the ground, and I think Jones lost 11 of those this year.
That's why they invested in the offensive line so much. But still, he's got to work on that. That's one of the few things he could work on.
Also, Carson Wentz was second with 16.
Mm-hmm.
These NFC East quarterbacks just got to hold on to the ball.
I don't think he lost too many of those because I didn't have a fantasy team.
Yeah. Here we go again with the fantasy team. But let's talk a little bit more about the other aspects of those teams before we give you our official divisional ranking predictions stuff. Yeah, I don't know exactly what. I mean, we could say predictions, but we're not giving you our records per se. So, but anyways, starting at the top of that division with that rivalry, you look at the Cowboys' defense, and even though they're paying a lot of people, they have a lot of good players on that defense. You go to the Eagles also. Their defense is okay. Their secondary was very much of a struggle last year.
Got a little better, though.
And I'm just going to keep going down the division and just talk about the defense a little bit. You guys can add on in a second. The Giants' defense, really, it's nothing to brag about. That's all I'm going to say.
Well said.
They can still make improvements on that defense, very much so. I don't want to be too rude to them.
Did get Xavier McKinney, though, in the second round, pick 36.
That was a good pick. I had a first-round grade on him.
The defense I do want to talk about is the football team defense, because obviously they drafted Chase Young second overall. They got a lot of other good players around that defensive line. Antonio Gibson.
He's a running back, obviously.
But
he said a lot of good players, and then I started reading off players that I had in my screen.
That defensive line in particular, I think, is the strength of that. Not only that defense, but that whole
they've addressed the defensive line, a couple of years in a row in the draft.
Yeah, you got Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, guys like that. Deron Payne as well, and obviously Chase Young.
And Matt Ioannidis.
Okay. So, that's briefly what we have to say about the teams. Obviously, there's other studs around this division that we could have talked about.
I just wanted to name one more interesting thing about this division, and that's going back to the quarterbacks. So I'm going to talk about the Eagles and I almost said it, the football team, the Washington football team. Just real quickly.
Let's just say Washington. I feel like that's going to be easier.
Yeah.
We'll refer to them as Washington. Yeah. It's a good idea. So Washington and the Eagles was their backup quarterback situation. First of all, with Carson Wentz, he has had those injury issues. And so what do the Eagles decide to do? Second round, pick 53 in the draft. They go out and pick up Jalen Hurts at pick 53 in the second round. I could almost bet you that he would have fell a lot farther than that, first of all.
I did not have a second-round grade on him.
But they picked him there, and they have Carson Wentz, who a lot of people are ranking in their top 10 of quarterbacks in the whole NFL this year.
I'm one of them.
I think I even did that.
Yeah. and a lot of people are ranking him maybe even higher and higher. So that's just an interesting one to point
I think
out.
I might have had him around 7. I
And
have
then,
the full rankings. But.
Yeah, and then we go over to Washington, and we talk about Dwayne Haskins. Is he going to do very good this year? Well, as of today, actually, today not for you, but today as I'm sitting here talking right now, as of Friday, Alex Smith was cleared for football. And you remember, he is still on that team. So if it is necessary, Alex Smith could step in and relieve Dwayne Haskins if he plays how we kind of started last year and doesn't pick it up, which I think we hope he does, because I think we all like Dwayne Haskins at this table. But if he doesn't, they always have that backup there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's an interesting division for sure. And I think Washington and the Giants still have some work to do, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think it's going to be the Eagles and the Cowboys fighting for it again. Hint, 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 for what I'm going to say for my rankings of this division. I think all of us will probably have similar stuff to that. And by the way, couldn't do this video without mentioning that Ryan said last year that I could say it, the Redskins were going to win this division because last year they were the Redskins.
Yeah, they won't win it this year because that's not an NFL team anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So that was it's a good segue into starting to do the predictions, but I do also want to say when you're talking about the Washington team, they do have Kyle Allen there as well, who will help with the whole Ron Rivera regime.
I don't think he'll.
And that's going to be interesting.
I think that Alex Smith will get the edge over him. Yeah. That's just my personal opinion. Let's start with ranking which team will finish 1 through 4.
Yeah. He's starting with 4, just to clarify.
Yes, I am starting with 4. And last season, the team that finished 4th in this division was Washington. They finished at 3-13. I let them picking number 2 in the draft. And as we talked about, they picked up Chase Young, one of the greatest talents we've seen come out of college football in a long time. He should be a great player to watch once he finally gets out onto the field. But unfortunately for Washington, I think they are going to stay at this 4 position. I think that they're growing. I think they have a shot to do things in the future, but it's just not there yet with me. I need to see Dwayne Haskins succeed. I did not like what I saw of him enough last year, so I need to see him play better. I need to see some more wide receivers on this team because there's really only one in existence on this team.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. He's the only wide receiver basically on this team that gets sideline everyone else, I guess. So I need to see that, and I'd love to see that defense get better. I'd love to see Chase Young wreak some havoc in the backfield because at least Chase Young should bring some attention to the Redskins, even if they do so. Oh!
He's shocked that he just said that. Also, I think they did add a receiver or two in the draft as well. I can't think of the names right now. I'm blanking on it, but they did address it a little bit. Keep going, Jordan.
I just like to point out that even the professionals do mess up the name. If you follow Ian Rappaport on Instagram or something, he did mess it up too, and I think it was Tom Pelissero?
It's gonna.
I said one of us is gonna do it. I might do it by the end of the video.
Someone pointed it out.
Let's move on.
I don't remember.
Tell us about the Giants.
It was Adam. It might have been Adam Schefter too. Tyler asked me to tell you about the Giants. Well, I'm going to do that right now because they're going to finish third in this division. In my opinion, last year they finished 4-12, not very far in front of the Redskins. I think they're going to do better than that this year. I do love Saquon Barkley. Had him on a fantasy team. God always mentioned that. I think Daniel Jones will do it right this year. I think he'll cut the fumbles and the interceptions. Don't think he will be a complete stud this year, but he'll do sufficient. I'd love to see this defense get better, though. That's the one weakness on the one weakness is the whole defense. But I would like to see
half your team.
I would like to see this defense
There's
get better.
special teams too. That's not half the team.
Yeah,
45.
The only really exciting thing about this defense to me is Xavier McKinney, and then also Love, because he went to Ryan's school.
He did, yes.
So that's cool. And then, that's the Giants. I think they'll finish third. And then next up, Eagles and the Cowboys fighting for it. And I probably should have thought about which one I was going to pick before I started talking.
That would have been a good idea,
but I
probably.
didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick... Okay, I got it now. So finishing at second in this division is going to be the Eagles. I think it's going to be close again. I think with the new playoff format, they definitely could be able to make the playoffs. I think they do have a good team. Love Carson Wentz, love Zach Ertz, love all those guys. I think their defense is getting better. we didn't mention this. Brian sort of mentioned it, but they got Darius Slay. I think that's going to help them out, but I don't think they'll be good enough to beat the Cowboys like they did last year. Last year they finished 9-7 and got a playoff spot. So I think they'll get, and they could do that again and get a playoff spot with this new format. That's part of the reason why I am an advocator against it. So I think they will finish third and possibly make a playoff spot. And then obviously the lone team left is the Dallas Cowboys. Finished at 8-8 last year. I think they'll do better than that. As much as I don't like the Cowboys, I unfortunately in the back of the hype train, just like kind of hiding down there, so no one can see me. But I guess I'm the world is seeing me now as I'm saying.
Yeah,
this.
you kind of just exposed that you're in the train.
So I'm not completely on the train, but like.
Okay, so
I
Cowboys
had to make
first.
a Back to the Future joke, but it didn't work.
I was trying to think of one too, but
So I think they'll finish at first. CeeDee Lamb's going to be great. Amari Cooper is going to be great. Michael Gallup's going to be great. And by the way, I just named 3 of the same position. Those were 3 really great players.
You didn't even mention the running back.
They didn't mention their running back Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, and their defense is getting better. They've added some nice people. Had a big loss, but they are adding some more good people. One of them that I like is Trayvon Diggs.
All right, Ryan, you're up now. Hopefully a little bit faster than Jordan.
Yeah, I will do my best.
Oh, gosh,
I'll be pressing triangle. I'll be doing some hurry up offense for you. So, to begin, fourth in this division. It's always a very difficult division to predict. I remember saying the exact same thing when we were predicting this division a year ago. But I've also got the football team at fourth. I think there's some. It doesn't quite sound right, but they'll find a name. Washington. I've got Washington in fourth. I think there's some nice pieces there. I like Ron Rivera as a coach. I don't know where you're going.
Here we go. Again.
I like Chase Young. I like the whole defensive line, but I know we talked about that early in the video. And in addition to that, I think that there is some potential there, but I just think they're very early in the rebuild process. So Washington will stay in the division cellar this year. And what is he doing?
He's eating chips back.
Okay. So, I guess he just doesn't want to stay for my predictions, which is fine. No offense taken. At third, I have got the Giants, and why I have the Giants ahead of Washington is just because I think that they are a little bit further ahead in this kind of rebuild process that I feel like both of those teams are in. Daniel Jones showed some good, some bad, so they at least have some idea of him. They've got a top 3 running back, Saquon Barkley. Evan Ingram could be a top 10 tight end when he's healthy. Sterling Shepard has potential. Golden Tate brings a nice veteran presence to that offense. The offensive line got a lot better, by the way. Andrew Thomas, great pick. My mock draft was perfect. Yeah, my mock draft was perfect at the time when he got picked, but then it went downhill. So I just think the Giants are a little bit further ahead in that rebuild process and are going to be a little bit ahead of Washington again in 2020. And now where it gets interesting, and I'll try and speed it up here. In second place...
Chip?
Sure.
I didn't think you was going to accept.
We enjoy ourselves here at the
I don't know what...
Oh, yeah.
Jalapeno.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Are we going to make it through?
Yeah.
Got any water in here? Nope.
Oh, my goodness.
Not that bad.
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't normally eat spicy foods, but...
I'm perfectly fine. I love
I'll be okay. At second, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, he's leaving again?
I think he's going to help you out. But...
Okay. I mean, I should keep it under control, but that was just not what I was expecting.
Okay.
I've got Philly finishing second. They're not too far behind Dallas, who obviously I'll say just now, because you obviously figured it out, I have finishing first.
Really?
Yes. But yeah, I think that Carson Wentz now, he doesn't have any excuses anymore. Like, you've got Doug Peterson, a great head coach. You've got a solid offensive line. You've got Zach Ertz, and your team brought in Marquise Goodwin and Jalen Reagor for you. So I only have a practice squad team. Everyone's hurt. That's done. So Carson Wentz is really going to have to prove that if he actually is worth if he really is worth all the hype that he's been getting and all the people that have been saying he could potentially be a top
Anything
5.
else I can do for you, sir?
No, thank you.
Okay. I'll be back in 2 minutes for...
please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but hey, we haven't even used these mugs in a while.
Also, could we get more chips?
Of course.
Thank you.
No problem.
We have not even used those mugs in a while to actually drink.
Let's go a little quicker.
Yeah, I'm trying, but I'm getting served.
I'll just go through my 4 really quickly once you're done, so we can save
And
time.
then Dallas, I think they're just a little bit more of a complete team. They've got a top 3 running back. They absolutely got a great steal with CeeDee Lamb. I like their second-round pick, Trayvon Diggs, as well. The offensive line is good, even with the retirement of Travis Frederick. They've still got at least 3 studs on that line, maybe more if I'm forgetting. Obviously, you got Gallup. And you've got just a really complete offense. The defense, even though they lost Byron Jones, they got some playmakers. Dallas wins the division.
Okay, well, you and Jordan, who's not here right now for no reason apparently,
who knows,
have really described the teams well. So I'll just go through my order. At number 4, I have the football team, Washington. To clarify, I think they're in a better direction team-wise with Ron Rivera leading the team. I think the future could be a lot brighter. Dwayne Haskins has potential. I'm excited for that. I just don't think it's going to work out this year. And then 3rd, I'm going with the Giants. So no change there across the table for 4th and 3rd. Their defense just needs to improve a little more. I like Daniel Jones just as I do Dwayne Haskins. But not this year.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We didn't have any Sprite, so is the water okay?
Can you get some carbonated water?
We don't have any of that. I'm sorry. We're limited today.
I guess that'll do.
Okay.
This is terrible service.
Sorry about that.
Anyways, so I'm going with the Giants at 3. Number 2, I am switching it up. I'm taking the Cowboys at 2. It's close. I think it's going to be another tight race for first place. A lot of talent on this team. Offensively and defensively, the wide receiver core is going to be great. They've had a good running game the past couple of years. Dak Prescott had a great year last year. I have a feeling he's going to keep that up going into this year. But I really think the improvement of the Eagles is why they're going to get 2nd and not 1st. And I'll talk about that right now with the Eagles, who I have getting 1st place in this division. I really do like the direction of their team. Carson Wentz is a little bit better to me than Dak Prescott. I spoiled that other video if you still want to go watch it, but that's what I think. They finally added some receivers for him. They have a whole, 200 running backs back there, and they are improving their secondary. So I do think this team was so close, and they're just going to find their way this year and not just do good for the last 5 games of the year. Get 1st place in this division, and there it is. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching this video.
What's your other one?
If you're still here for some reason after all of Jordan's shenanigans, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. Comment your opinions down below about this division.
Yep.
And with that, we will wait for him to sit down. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.
See ya.